The galaxy was loud and bright, full of ships moving between stars. Planets had cities floating in the skies, stations hung above gas giants, and alien voices filled every channel. But one small blue world stayed silent. Earth. Once the home of humans, now forgotten by all. Earth was no longer on any trade maps. No one traveled there. People said it was dead, empty, a broken planet left behind when humans went to the stars. For hundreds of years, no ship had landed on its surface. The oceans and forests had taken back the cities, and nature ruled where towers once stood. Far away, in the quiet part of the galaxy, a small alien ship moved through empty space. It belonged to a race called the Deerine. They were thin creatures with gray skin and long fingers, known for collecting old tech from dead worlds. Their leader, a calm explorer named Vora, sat in the control seat, looking at the blue dot on the screen. "Is this the one?" asked his partner, a younger Deerine named Kel. "Yes," Vora said. "The old records call it Earth. It was the first world of humans. If there is lost tech here, it will be valuable." The ship entered Earth's orbit. The planet looked beautiful from space. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. But no lights shone from its surface. No signals came from cities. It was quiet, like a sleeping giant. The Deerine ship scanned the surface. Ruins were everywhere, covered by trees. Old towers stood broken. Roads had turned to stone paths under vines. Life had returned, but not the kind that spoke. Vora smiled. "Perfect. No people. We can take what we want." The ship landed in an open field where a city once stood. The ground was cracked, and strange plants grew from the soil. The team stepped out, wearing gray suits. They moved slowly, scanning for energy readings. At first, they found nothing but broken machines and rusted metal. Then their scanners beeped. "What is this?" Kel asked, looking at his device. The signal came from deep underground, far below the ruins. "Something old," Vora said. "Very old. And very strong." They searched for an entrance and found a metal door hidden under rocks and soil. Strange symbols were carved on it, symbols no one had seen for centuries. It looked like human writing, but different, older. "Open it," Vora ordered. Kel used a plasma cutter to break the lock. The door opened with a loud sound, like air rushing after a long time. A dark tunnel led down into the earth. They shone their lights and walked inside. The tunnel walls were smooth and black, like glass. Machines hummed softly, though no power should have been left after so many years. The deeper they went, the louder the hum became. It was not just sound. They felt it in their bones, like the heartbeat of a giant. They reached a huge chamber. In the center stood a crystal pod, tall and bright. Inside it was a figure. Human-shaped, but taller, stronger, and still as stone. The figure wore silver armor, and strange marks glowed faintly on its chest. "What is this?" Kel whispered. Vora stared at the pod. "A human, but not like the ones we know. This one looks built." The hum grew louder. Lights on the walls came alive, one by one. Machines started moving. Symbols flashed across screens in a language no one understood. The crystal pod glowed brighter, and a voice spoke from everywhere at once. "System online. Sentinel protocol active." The Deerine froze. They could not understand the words, but they felt the meaning. Something had woken up. "Turn it off," Vora shouted. "Now." They ran to the panels, pressing buttons, pulling wires, but the machines ignored them. The pod cracked. A bright light filled the chamber. Kel screamed as the ground shook. Far above, on the surface, birds flew from the trees as the earth trembled. Old towers collapsed. Across the planet, hidden machines powered on, sending ripples through the air. Deep underground, the crystal shattered. The figure inside opened its eyes. They glowed like burning stars. The Dirine did not see what happened next. Their last sound was the roar of energy, then silence. The chamber was empty. Only the hum remained, stronger than ever. High above the planet, in the cold dark of space, something else happened. Old satellites, thought to be dead, woke up. They turned slowly, their lenses glowing red. Signals shot across the void, bouncing between hidden stations. Across the solar system, forgotten weapons unlocked. Earth was no longer silent. And in the heart of the planet, the figure stepped forward. His name was Eric. The last guardian of Earth. He looked at the walls, then at the sky above, though he could not see it. His voice was low, like distant thunder. Who disturbs the sleep of Earth? The galaxy never stayed quiet for long. Signals always moved between stars, carrying news faster than ships could fly. When the first strange energy wave came from Earth, many thought it was a mistake. Some said it was a flare from a dying sun. Others laughed and called it ghost stories from old human myths. But the wave kept growing. It spread through subspace like ripples in a pond. Every sensor on every station picked it up. Across the great empires of the galaxy, leaders turned their eyes toward one small blue world. In the high halls of the Zyrith Empire, an old warlord named Drekken studied the readings. His body was covered in dark scales, his eyes cold like steel. He had fought in many wars, but this signal made him uneasy. "This comes from the dead world of humans," said his advisor. "The one called Earth." Drekken's jaw tightened. "Humans left that world centuries ago. Why does it speak now?" "No answer yet," the advisor replied. "But other empires know. They will move soon." Drekken stood silent. He remembered the history of humans. Long ago, before they spread through the stars, they were clever and dangerous. They built weapons no one fully understood. If some of those weapons still slept on Earth, they could change the balance of power. Drekken could not allow his rivals to take them first. "Send a fleet," Drekken ordered. "Find out what wakes on that world." Far away, in the council chambers of the Vereen Dominion, another leader gave the same order. Soon, messages flashed across the void. Armies moved. Fleets began to gather. Earth was no longer forgotten. It had become a prize that every empire wanted. In the middle of this, humans in the outer colonies also heard the whispers. The human race was no longer united. It was split into many small governments, scattered across hundreds of systems. They had no great fleets like the aliens. They had no power to fight empires. But when news came that Earth was alive again, their hearts shook. In a small station orbiting a trade hub, a human captain named Mara sat in her quarters, reading the report. Her dark hair fell across her face as her eyes moved over the words. Energy surge detected on Earth. Possible weapon systems active. Unknown human presence confirmed. She leaned back in her chair and stared at the ceiling. Earth. The place her ancestors had left behind long before she was born. A place people spoke of only in stories. Her second officer, a young man named Rin, stepped inside. "Captain, you read the message?" "Yes," Mara said. "What do you think?" "I think the galaxy is about to burn," she said quietly. "And I think Earth holds the match." Rin frowned. "Do we warn the council?" "They already know," Mara said. "And they will argue, and they will waste time. While they talk, the aliens will move. If Earth is alive, if something there is human, we cannot let the aliens take it." Rin hesitated. "So what do we do?" Mara stood and looked out at the stars. "We go to Earth." While humans whispered among themselves, the signal from Earth grew stronger. It was not a single pulse anymore. It was like a heartbeat, steady and powerful. Across deep space, old machines that no one remembered began to stir. Strange patterns appeared in subspace currents, like coded messages, but no one could read them. On Earth, deep under the soil, Arik walked through the ancient chamber. The air was cold, but he did not feel it. His body was strong, built to last for ages. His mind held memories like old shadows, hard to catch but heavy with meaning. He stopped in front of a black wall. It glowed when he touched it, showing maps of the solar system. Red marks flashed where satellites and stations waited in silence. Arik raised his hand, and one by one, they woke. High above, hidden weapons turned. Energy fields hummed around Earth like invisible armor. Across the ruins on the surface, towers rose from the ground, their tips glowing bright. Machines shaped like beasts crawled from caves, their metal bodies shining in the sun. Arik spoke a single command, his voice calm but deep with power. Fortify. The systems obeyed. Shields spread across the planet. Sky gates opened. The old fortress of Earth was alive again. Far away, in the great alien council halls, panic began. Reports poured in. Unknown defenses were online on Earth. Automated weapons had formed a wall no fleet could break easily. Energy readings were higher than anything seen in centuries. What is this? Drekken roared as he slammed his fist on the table. A dead world does not wake like this. An old scholar spoke, her voice trembling. Long ago, humans built guardians. Machines that could think and fight without end. They called them sentinels. Are you saying this is one of them? Drekken asked. Yes, the scholar whispered. And if it is awake, then Earth is not just a world. It is a fortress. The warlord's eyes turned dark. Then we strike before it grows stronger. Orders were sent. The largest fleets in history began to move toward the silent blue world. But deep inside Earth, Arik already knew they were coming. And he was ready. Deep under the earth, the great chamber glowed brighter than before. Machines hummed and screens flashed with codes from an age no one remembered. In the center stood Arik, tall and strong, his silver armor shining in the pale blue light. His eyes were bright like two stars. His face showed no fear, only calm purpose. He looked at the maps on the wall. The solar system was marked with symbols. Small icons moved slowly, showing fleets leaving their home worlds. Arik understood the meaning at once. They were coming. Many ships. Many empires. They wanted Earth. They wanted to take what was his duty to protect. He closed his eyes and let his mind connect to the old network. A soft sound filled the chamber, like a voice from long ago. It was the voice of the core, the heart of Earth's defense systems. Welcome back, Sentinel Arik, the voice said. Systems at 40%. Full power in 12 hours. Awaiting command. Arik spoke in a firm voice. Status of the planet. Surface shield active, the core replied. Sky gates online. Orbital weapons waking. Autonomous guardians ready for deployment. Deploy them, Arik said. Prepare for invasion. At once, the ground shook as giant machines rose from deep silos hidden under mountains and oceans. On the surface, towers opened like flowers, sending energy beams into the sky. Across the old cities, metal beasts marched, each taller than a building, their eyes glowing with blue fire. Far above, in space, satellites turned their guns outward. Invisible walls of force wrapped around the planet like a second skin. Earth was no longer a dead world. It was becoming a fortress. Arik opened his eyes and looked at the crystal shards around him. The pod that held him for so long was gone. His time of sleep was over. Now was the time for war. He walked through the chamber slowly, his steps heavy on the floor. His memories returned in pieces, like broken glass coming together. He remembered the age of gold when humans ruled the stars. They were strong then, united under one banner. They built wonders and reached every corner of the galaxy. But with greatness came fear. Enemies rose. Wars burned the stars. To protect Earth, the Guardians were made. Sentinels like him, built to be stronger than any army. Arik was the last of them. He remembered his oath. Protect Earth. Protect humanity. At any cost. But as he looked at the screens, he saw no signal from the human empire. No great fleets came to greet him. No voices called his name. The humans had left long ago. They had forgotten him. A strange feeling moved in his chest, something cold and heavy. Was he alone now? Did his duty still matter if his people had turned away? He stood still for a moment, thinking. Then his jaw tightened. It did not matter. They were his people. Even if they forgot him, he would not forget them. His oath was his life. The core spoke again. Incoming transmissions detected. Multiple fleets approaching. Estimated arrival in 72 hours. Arik touched the wall, and images appeared. Ships filled the screen, moving like a swarm of black insects across the void. Their weapons glowed. Their shields burned bright. They came to conquer, to break the sleeping world. They will not pass, Arik said. The core's voice grew sharper. Warning. Power systems at half capacity. You cannot fight them alone. Arik turned his head slowly. His eyes burned with light. I am never alone. I have Earth. As if to answer him, the chamber lights grew brighter. Across the planet, engines roared, and energy surged like rivers of fire. The ground trembled as old machines woke from their long sleep. They were not just weapons. They were pieces of a mind, extensions of the Sentinel himself. He could feel them, like fingers on his hand, ready to strike. Arik walked to the center of the room. A large platform rose from the floor, carrying a black sphere with silver lines running across it. This was the heart key, the control core of the entire defense grid. He placed his hand on it. The silver lines glowed, and a deep voice spoke from the walls. Command link complete. Full control granted. Arik's mind spread through the network like fire. He saw the skies, the oceans, the empty cities. He felt the power of the weapons orbiting in space. He could hear the heartbeat of the planet itself. It was alive again, and it answered to him. In his mind, he saw the enemy fleets drawing closer. They thought Earth was weak. They thought it was empty. They were wrong. Arik spoke one word, and his voice was like thunder rolling through the dark halls of the ancient fortress. Fortress Protocol. The planet obeyed. Shields strengthened. Weapons aligned. The sky gates opened fully, glowing like rings of light above the clouds. War machines formed ranks on the surface, their steps shaking the ground. The blue world was ready for battle. Far beyond, in the cold darkness of space, alien fleets kept coming. They did not know what waited for them. But soon, they would learn. And the galaxy would remember the name Earth. In the dark space between the stars, fleets began to move. The Xyrath Empire sent warships shaped like long blades, each covered in heavy armor and lined with cannons. The Vereen Dominion deployed their hive carriers, black and sharp, carrying thousands of attack drones. Dozens of smaller empires followed, each hoping to take a piece of Earth before others could claim it. The galaxy had not seen such movement in centuries. Whole sectors turned into war zones as fleets crossed paths, each racing toward the same destination. The signal from Earth had become a beacon, and every leader wanted the prize. Warlord Drekken stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the stars. His claws tapped on the metal railing. The reports on his screen showed the growing defenses on Earth. Shields active. Sky gates detected. Unknown weapon platforms online, the officer read aloud. Drekken's eyes narrowed. So the dead world is not dead. This will not stop us. No planet can stand against the might of the Zyroth. But deep inside, he felt something strange. He had seen many wars, but this was different. A world waking after centuries of silence was not natural. Something waited there, something old and powerful. Across the galaxy, in the human colonies, fear grew like a shadow. People whispered in markets and on stations, asking the same question. Who woke on Earth? Was it a weapon? Was it a person? Some saw hope. Some saw doom. On the station near the trade hub, Captain Mara prepared her small ship. She loaded supplies while her crew checked systems. Ren looked nervous. Captain, are you sure about this? We have one ship. We cannot fight fleets. We are not going to fight, Mara said. We are going to see the truth. If something on Earth is human, we need to speak with it before the aliens do. And if it is not human? Ren asked. Mara's eyes hardened. Then we find out what it wants. Her ship left the station and vanished into the deep black, heading for the blue world that everyone now watched. While fleets gathered, Earth prepared in silence. Arik stood in the command chamber, his mind linked to the defense grid. He could feel every shield, every weapon, every machine. They were like parts of his body, ready to obey. The core spoke calmly. Enemy fleets will arrive in 48 hours. Estimated number, 3,000 warships. Arik's voice was steady. Status of orbital platforms. 90% ready, the core answered. Surface guardians deployed in all continents. Sky gates locked. Arik opened his eyes and looked at the map on the wall. Red markers showed enemy fleets closing in from every direction. It was like a net tightening around Earth. They wanted his world. They wanted what they did not understand. His mind drifted for a moment. He remembered the old times when humans ruled the stars. He remembered standing in the halls of the High Council, hearing voices filled with pride and unity. Now there was only silence. No human fleet had come to aid him. No signal from the colonies. He was alone. But duty did not break. His oath still burned in his chest. Earth was his to guard. Humanity was his to protect. Even if they had forgotten him, he would not fail. The core interrupted his thoughts. Energy readings stable. Planetary reactors at full output. Good, Arik said. Activate deep vaults. Far beneath the ground, giant doors opened. Weapons of shapes never seen by alien eyes slid into position. They glowed with strange light as old power flowed through them. These were not simple guns. They were creations from an age when humans bent science like clay, when nothing seemed impossible. These weapons could tear fleets apart before they reached the atmosphere. On the surface, towers stood like silent giants. Their tips sparked as energy filled them. The oceans shimmered as hidden submarines powered on, their sleek hulls covered in strange alloys. Sky gates rotated slowly, glowing brighter than the sun. The whole planet was alive. Arik looked at the skies above and spoke softly. Come if you dare. Far away, in the heart of the Zyroth fleet, Drekken felt the weight of coming battle. He called his captains on the hollow screen. We strike together, he growled. Before others steal our victory. Earth will fall, and its secrets will belong to us. The captains roared in agreement, but their eyes showed doubt. They had seen the reports. They knew this was no simple world. Other fleets sent their own messages. Promises of power. Threats of death. The galaxy was a storm now, and its center was Earth. But while others spoke, Arik acted. He summoned a massive construct from the vault below the command chamber. It was shaped like a great armored beast with wings of steel and engines that burned like fire. When it rose, the ground cracked, and the air shook. It was the Sky Warden, the strongest war machine ever built. And it was his to command. The storm was coming. The sky was heavy with war. Soon, the quiet blue world would become the brightest flame in the galaxy. And Eric stood ready to burn those who came too close. The stars near Earth began to shine with new lights. They were not stars at all, but the engines of warships, thousands of them. The first fleets had arrived. Their hulls gleamed black and silver as they glided through the void, moving like predators toward their prey. At the front of this armada was the Zyrith fleet, led by warlord Drekken. His flagship, the Iron Fang, was a monster of metal, longer than a city and armed with weapons that could crack moons. Drekken stood on his bridge, his claws gripping the railing as the blue planet grew larger on the screen. "Signal the vanguard," he commanded. "Prepare to land." His captains obeyed. Dozens of smaller ships broke away from the main fleet, forming a spearhead. They burned through the darkness, heading straight for Earth's atmosphere. Inside those ships, alien soldiers armed themselves. They checked their rifles, their blades, and their armor. Some whispered prayers to their war gods. They believed this battle would be easy. A dead world could not fight back. But Earth was no longer dead. High above the planet, hidden among clouds and shadows, the sky gates came alive. Their rings glowed bright blue as power surged through them. Silent machines aimed their weapons toward the falling ships. They waited for Eric's command. In the deep command chamber, Eric stood like a statue, his eyes fixed on the screens. He could see every enemy ship, every move they made. They thought Earth was weak. They thought they could land. He would show them the truth. "Engage," Eric said. The sky gates opened fire. Beams of pure energy shot out like lightning, cutting through space with silent speed. The first alien ship exploded before its crew even saw the attack. Then another. And another. In seconds, the vanguard was in flames. Drekken's eyes widened as he saw his ships vanish in bursts of light. "Shields up! Return fire," he roared. But the gates did not stop. Their beams struck with perfect aim, tearing through the strongest shields like paper. The sky above Earth became a storm of fire and smoke. On the planet's surface, towers joined the attack. They released waves of missiles that curved through the clouds and found their targets in orbit. Alien ships broke apart like toys. Escape pods scattered into the void, glowing like sparks. One alien commander managed to send a message to Drekken before his ship vanished. "We cannot land." The sky burns. Then the signal ended. The galaxy watched. Across hundreds of worlds, people stared at their screens as live feeds spread through hidden channels. They saw Earth, the forgotten world, standing against the greatest fleets in history. They saw alien warships fall like rain into the sea of stars. Fear spread through every empire. Drekken slammed his fist against the control panel. His sharp teeth bared in anger. "They have weapons beyond our understanding," he growled. "But we will not turn back." He called his captains. "Full assault! All ships forward! Overwhelm them with fire!" The Zyrith fleet surged closer, their cannons blazing. Rivers of plasma and storms of missiles filled space. They struck Earth's shields, sending ripples across the invisible barrier. Explosions flashed like suns. But the shields held. In the chamber, Eric felt the impact through the network, but his face did not change. His voice was calm as he gave the next order. "Activate orbital platforms." Around Earth, giant structures came to life. They looked like black spears floating in the void, but when they opened, they revealed weapons from another age. Their tips glowed with white fire. In a single strike, they unleashed storms of energy that ripped through the alien fleet. Entire squadrons vanished in one flash. The balance of power shattered. Still, the enemy fought. Waves of drones poured from their carriers, filling the sky like a black swarm. They rushed toward the shields, hoping to break through with sheer numbers. Arik responded with his own swarm. Metal birds with wings of light soared from the sky gates, their claws slicing through enemy drones. The battle turned into a dance of death above the clouds. On the surface, the first enemy drop pods managed to land. They crashed into the ruins of old cities, their doors bursting open. Alien soldiers rushed out, their weapons ready. They thought they could capture ground and build a foothold. But the earth itself rose against them. From the shadows of broken towers, machines marched forward. They were giants of steel, their bodies glowing with blue fire. Their steps shook the ground. They carried weapons that spat storms of light. In moments, the alien soldiers were gone, erased from the battlefield. Arik watched it all. Every shot, every move. His mind was one with the war. He felt no fear, no doubt. This was what he was made for. He opened a channel, sending his voice across every frequency. Every alien commander heard it. His words were clear, strong, and cold. "This is Earth," he said. "Leave now or be destroyed." The words echoed through the darkness of space. For a moment, silence followed. Then rage answered in the roar of alien cannons. The first contact had begun. And it was written in fire. The galaxy held its breath. Word of Earth's defenses spread faster than any fleet could travel. Armies that once feared nothing now hesitated. They called it the awakening of Earth, the dead world that refused to die. But hesitation was brief. The largest fleets in history continued toward the planet, each determined to conquer or destroy. Warlord Drekken led the charge. His flagship, Iron Fang, cut through space like a knife. Behind him, the combined fleets of multiple empires advanced in perfect formation. Millions of ships filled the void, each armed to obliterate anything in its path. They believed numbers and firepower would overwhelm Earth. They were wrong. High above the planet, Arik watched them through the orbital network. His eyes, bright as stars, followed every ship. He felt no fear, only resolve. Every weapon on the planet, every machine buried in the soil, and every hidden satellite was connected to him. They were not separate. They were one force. He was Earth, and Earth would not fall. "Prepare the Guardians," Arik said calmly. "Activate full protocol." Beneath the surface, enormous machines stirred from their ancient slumber. Some were larger than mountains. Some could fly faster than any starship. Their movements were precise, deliberate. On the plains, forests, and oceans, smaller machines took their positions. Every surface of the planet became a battlefield. Every hidden weapon prepared for war. Above, alien scouts approached first. They moved quickly, attempting to map the defenses. Energy beams from the orbital platforms struck them like lightning. Ships exploded, fragments scattering into space. The fleet's advance slowed as pilots realized Earth would not surrender. Drekken roared in anger. "Bring them down. Burn the planet if you cannot take it." But Arik was ready. He extended his control across the orbital weapons. A wave of energy shot outward, striking the lead ships. Entire squadrons disappeared in a flash of white light. The fleet staggered. Their formations faltered. Fear spread among the ranks. On the surface, Arik commanded the Guardians. Massive constructs rose from mountains and oceans. One was the Sky Warden, a flying behemoth with wings of steel and fire. Another was the Earth Breaker, a ground machine capable of shattering mountains with a single strike. They moved with purpose, their steps shaking the planet, their weapons aimed at the approaching fleets. Alien leaders tried to coordinate. Thousands of warships launched missiles and plasma storms. They targeted every gate, every weapon, every tower. But each strike met an unstoppable counter. The Sky Warden intercepted the missiles in midair. The Earthbreaker crushed the incoming landing ships on the ground. Earth fought with precision no living commander could match. From orbit, Arik saw a massive alien flagship attempting to break through the outer shield. Its cannons fired, tearing apart satellites, but the shield held. Arik reached through the network and focused all power on the flagship. Energy surged through space, striking the ship in a single overwhelming blast. It shattered, leaving debris floating like dead stars. The alien fleet began to retreat, but Drekken refused. "Push forward," he yelled. "If we die, we die together." In response, Arik summoned another wave. Hidden fleets from deep space emerged through wormhole gates. They were automated vessels, weapons left by humans long ago, waiting for the day Earth would need them. They struck the alien flanks, tearing through ships that had been confident moments ago. Entire sections of the fleet disappeared within minutes. Meanwhile, Mara and her human crew finally approached Earth. Their small ship dodged falling debris and skimming blasts. They saw the chaos below. Cities that had been silent for centuries now bristled with machines, glowing with fire and energy. Alien ships fell from the sky. Machines marched through forests and oceans. They saw the Sky Warden soar above the clouds, striking the enemy with precision no human weapon could match. Mara whispered to Rin, "This is what humanity left behind. We forgot, but it never forgot us." Rin nodded, his eyes wide. "And it is alive. It is defending us." The battle raged for hours. The alien fleets realized they had underestimated Earth. No tactic worked. No weapon succeeded. Thousands of ships fell. Entire squadrons vanished. The last hope of the invaders was their combined fleets, but Earth's defense was perfect. It was not just machines or weapons. It was a mind, a guardian, a force that thought faster than any commander. Drekken looked at the screens and felt something he had not felt in centuries. Fear. He had faced the strongest armies in the galaxy, but nothing like this. A single world, alone, could destroy everything he controlled. And it was not afraid. The alien fleet began to scatter. Ships tried to retreat, but Earth's network tracked them. Missiles followed, lasers burned, and guardians struck. By the time the sun set over the planet, the great fleets were broken. Few survived. Many were destroyed entirely. Earth remained undefeated. Arik stood in the command chamber, watching the remnants. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. This was only the beginning. The galaxy had seen the power of Earth, and it would never forget. He turned to the core. "Prepare for the next wave," he said. "They will not stop." Outside, the planet trembled as the last guardians returned to their positions. The sky was filled with streaks of energy. The oceans glowed with light. Earth had awakened, and its roar would echo across the galaxy. The battle was over. The great fleets of the galaxy had been broken, scattered, or destroyed. Earth stood tall, glowing beneath the sun, alive and undefeated. Its guardians returned to the forests, mountains, oceans, and skies. The Sky Warden descended from the clouds, its wings folding as it landed beside the Earthbreaker. Arik watched it all, calm and vigilant. He knew the galaxy would not forget this day. Fear had spread like wildfire across distant stars. Earth had returned, and it was stronger than anyone imagined. In orbit above the planet, Captain Mara and her small human crew hovered in silence. Their ship had arrived just as the last enemy ships fell back into retreat. They had witnessed the power of the Sentinel firsthand. Mara looked at her crew, her eyes reflecting both awe and concern. "We are not alone anymore," she said softly. Rin nodded beside her, unable to speak. Both of them understood the truth. Humanity had once left Earth, forgetting its power. Now it had awakened, and its memory of greatness burned brighter than ever. Arik felt their presence as soon as they approached. He did not need to see them to know they were human. Their minds carried the faint echo of Earth, the same spark that had once filled the world with life. He extended his awareness toward them, touching their thoughts lightly, testing if they could understand. Mara opened a communication channel. "Sentinel Arik," she said. Her voice was steady, though her heart raced. "We are humans. We come from the colonies. We mean no harm." Arik's voice replied, calm but strong, filling their minds rather than the ship's speakers. "Humans. You are far from home. You have forgotten this world, and you have forgotten your duty. Why do you come now?" Mara took a deep breath. "We have seen what happened. We saw the fleets destroyed. We saw the power of Earth. We know now that the galaxy will not leave us alone. We came to ask you to join us, not to fight against us." Arik paused, his mind reaching out to them. The truth was simple. Humanity had scattered. They had grown weak, divided, and unaware of their potential. But they were still his people. And he had a choice to make. "You are far from home," he said. "And you carry no armies. Your people cannot defend themselves from the threats in the stars." Mara nodded. "We know. That is why we need you. Help us guide humanity back. Help us protect them." Arik turned his gaze toward the planet. The forests, oceans, and mountains stretched endlessly, dotted with glowing towers and machines. Earth had awakened, but it did not fight for conquest. It fought for survival. For humanity. For the future. "I was created to protect humanity," Arik said finally. "Even if they forget me. Even if they abandon Earth. That is my duty. You speak of unity. I will listen." Mara's relief was quiet but deep. "Then we can rebuild together. We can restore humanity to its place among the stars." Arik's mind stretched across the planet. He sent signals to every human settlement in the colonies. They listened, their screens lighting up with his message. His words were not threats. They were a promise. "Humans of the colonies," he said. "Earth awakens. Its guardian lives. Return if you seek protection and guidance. Learn again what you were, and what you can be. Let the galaxy know that humanity will not be forgotten." Across the stars, humans watched and wondered. Some were afraid, but most were inspired. The signal carried hope. It carried power. It carried the truth that humans had once achieved greatness, and now it could return. Meanwhile, the alien empires that had attacked Earth began to retreat. Warlord Drekken's fleets limped back to their worlds, beaten and ashamed. The galaxy had seen what Earth could do. They whispered warnings to one another. Earth was no longer a forgotten planet. It was alive, and it had a guardian who would defend it at any cost. No empire dared test it again. On the surface, Arik walked among the guardians. The machines moved around him, returning to their positions, waiting for the day when they would be needed again. He looked to the sky, where Mara's small ship hovered. She waved, and he felt a strange sense of pride. These humans could learn, could grow, could become what they were meant to be. The sun set over the planet, painting the sky with gold and red. Earth was calm once more. But this calm was not weakness. It was preparation. The galaxy would watch, but it would never forget. Humanity had returned, and their forgotten guardian would ensure they thrived. Arik turned to Mara. "They have forgotten what we were. They will remember now," he said. His voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of centuries. "And we will guide them." Mara smiled. "Then together, we will build a future they cannot take from us." The wind of Earth moved through the forests and mountains, carrying the echoes of awakening machines and the heartbeat of the planet itself. Humanity had a chance to return to greatness. Earth was alive, and its guardian had awoken. The galaxy had seen its power. The galaxy would tremble, but it would also respect the strength of a people united once more. And above all, Arik stood ready. ready to defend, ready to guide, and ready to lead humanity into a new age among the stars.